Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I'm going to install an eBay backup camera on my Ford Excursion. So what all comes in this, there's some instructions printed on the back of the box. Inside there's the cable that runs from wherever you're mounting the camera to the front. You got your video lead and your power wire for your backup. And you have your camera. It's just a little guy that pops in a hole. And they include the power wire that plugs into the camera. And a tiny ultra cheap hole saw. Can't make it much cheaper than this. And then there's also another set of instructions. So to install this backup camera, I have to drill a hole. It isn't real big, but so what I'm planning on doing is putting it right there. So let's get after it. Well, I got the hole saw that came with. I'm gonna see how it works. Gonna go right there. There we go. Now the camera should fit right in there. So we'll take the leads first. And I'm going to stick them all the way through where the light used to come. I'm not going to put it in all the way for now because I don't have the head unit in here yet, so I don't know which way is the right direction to orientate it, but that's where it's going to be. So I already have the wires run on the inside. I ran the video cable up through the headliner, and you don't have any to spare on an Excursion. And then I ran a wire down this pillar into by the brake light, and I tapped into the reverse lamps in there. And then there's a body ground right here I tapped into for this power supply. So once I get the head unit installed and the wires run through the liftgate here, I should be all ready to try that. Alright everyone, here's what you've been waiting for. I am going to install the single DIN, double DIN. I believe this is a 10.1 inch Xtrons with the movable screen. It rotates and everything. As you can see right here, it'll rotate. That's the stop, and these are the stop pins. So this is supposed to fit into a single DIN slot or a double DIN slot with using brackets and adapters. It's got your USB and audio video jacks and your speaker and power wires plug in here, Wi-Fi, GPS, and your radio antenna and microphone. This is a non-DVD unit. There is a chart here that shows what everything is, and I'm going to be installing this into a Ford Excursion, and I am not going to modify anything on the Excursion. I am not even going to use a radio mount or an adapter. So if you have the tools, you can pop the tools in here to get the existing radio out. Or on these Super Duties of this age, basically you just grab about anywhere here and you pull it out, and the radio is attached to this trim piece. So once you get that out, the radio comes with, and then you can just unplug everything back here. Reach your hands around the side and push them buttons in. Now I got the old radio out, and all you got to do is push on these from behind. I probably can't show that very good on the video, but that's all you do, push them in. So now to install the Xtrons, it will fit in just like that without cutting any of this. If your dash is all busted up, it might not work. We'll see. But basically stick it in like that. This isn't very heavy. I went and completely removed the dash, so it's easier to show you. You take the Xtrons, you place it in, and the factory tabs will hold it from moving around if you have a good dash. If you don't, you'll have to find some other way to do this. You could probably put a bracket onto the side here and then screw it on. That would work. Otherwise, take the supplied brackets and you just notch them like that, and then you put in one of the screws. I ran it like that for a while on my F350, and I had no issues at all with it. So I just go and get one of these screws started here. Take the other bracket, start this one, then you can slip it back in there. Slip it back in there just like that. Slide them brackets down. And you take your Phillips screwdriver and you tighten them up. Do that side, then come over and do this side. Hold it good and tight. It can move around in there a little bit, but not very much. The reason you gotta notch this out and brackets a little bit is because it'll hit the heat vent. And when it's hitting that, it won't slide all the way into the vehicle. So the vehicle actually helps hold the radio in a little bit that way too, on these parts. Well, then you can go run your cables on my F350. I just had the USB cable coming out over here. Just like that. And then my GPS, I actually just had laying up on the dash. You know, you can install it however good you want. If you want to go and route it up there or whatever, that's fine. But I kind of made this so if I wanted to, I could swap it between vehicles. I went and got a wire harness that has multiple Ford pigtails on it. This vehicle originally had a CD player, but I'm not using that anymore. So I believe I just need the one. That's all I needed on my pickup. And here's the wires for the backup camera. I went and ran up through the headliner. Just to make it easier for me, I'm just going to run it down along here. That works for me. Now I just got to hook this wire up to I believe it's this one. And what that's going to do is it's going to activate the screen on the Xtron when you put in reverse, which is going to turn on the camera in the back, and then you'll have backup camera. And I'll go solder this. Now it's just a matter of plugging everything in to the back of the Xtrons and putting the dash back. Power supply, USB, the camera, the backup camera, they'll get plugged into the audio video harness, and they have it labeled cam VIN. For now, everything else on here I'm not going to use. Screw the GPS on. Just like that. Plug all our factory stuff back in. And make sure you don't get that pinched. Slip everything into place. Must have had one tab out of place. Everything's good and tight now. And this wiggles a little bit that way, but isn't too bad. So I got my USB sticking out there. GPS just hanging out there. Take your screen here, and you slip your connection in. Slip your connection in the right way, and then this is how you adjust your up and down of your screen on these tabs. It's also how you install it. So you grab on them, and you slide it down onto the bracket. It's a little bit tight on the Excursion compared to the F350 because it's actually recessed in here a little bit, but just grab them tabs and you slide it to where you want it, and it fits pretty nice. It doesn't block your vents, doesn't block your heater controls. And I changed my startup screen, so I did have this in my F350 already, trying it out. This goo here is from a decal they have on there. I haven't tried real hard to get it off. So it does take I don't know, 30 seconds or whatever it is to get it to boot up. And I'm gonna put it in reverse once. And my camera's upside down. But that's how quick it switches. Ought to be pretty nice. So you got your Android operating system. It's not completely Android. It's pretty close Android from what I can tell. there's a bunch of missing features and functions in it, but Play Store works and all that stuff. You got your standard radio. You can do your Bluetooth stuff. You can Bluetooth audio from your phone on here. Your EQ, if you have this installed. I don't. You can plug stuff into the USB and play videos. Music, from what I can tell, I don't know what file format you're allowed to use, because I have some MP3s on here and it will not play them. So I went and downloaded VLC player, and that plays all your songs just fine. You can download majority of your apps on here. Most of these buttons are not customizable. The only one that I believe that is the navigation. From the factory, it will bring up the Google Maps, but you can change that to other maps. You got your Play Store. Your settings. So how you can tell this isn't like 100% Android, that's my feeling anyways, is like you punch in a code, I believe it's 7890, and you get into developer options, but like you can't do USD debugging and some of that stuff. There's a lot of missing settings menus. The car settings. You got some stuff in here you can turn the trajectory. You can turn that on and off. Rulers. Here's where you change your Navi application. Enable your parking brake, memory, start navigation, shutdown delay. You can change that 10, 30, 60 minutes, and I believe is what that does is when you shut off the key and go into a store and you come back, if it's within this amount of time, then it won't do that full boot up. It'll be a quicker boot up. The extra settings, just dial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Must have been missing a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's all in the manual. The panel keys, haven't played with that. Panel light, that's the one I was thinking of. Open or close, and that is these buttons on the side. It's kind of a pain if you have it on open and you're sitting in the complete darkness messing around because you can't see this. So I leave them on close, so they're on. Otherwise, normally they would come on when you turn your headlights on. Here you can change the colors. I like blue. Then a bunch of other stuff on here. Change your logo and whatnot. And all your other usual settings. So this screen on this one can move side to side, and it can turn. I've never turned it like that. It felt like it was turning pretty hard, so I'm not gonna force it. But that's pretty much it. You got your torque app. I actually have my garage door. So my garage door app, so when I come in my yard, the Wi-Fi connects and I can open the garage door through this. That's the Xtrons 10.1 single double din. Well, I ended up making a spacer for in here. It's not necessary for the fitment of this radio, but because of the extra depth in the dash of the Excursion over my F350, I wanted about another ½ inch that the radio sticked out. So while I was at it, this is cut out of a piece of mud flap material that I had from a semi-truck. So it's flexible. I don't know if that's showing up very good, but it's flexible. So I cut that out for the size of the opening and the size of the radio. And that'll give me my extra ½ inch I want the radio to stick forward. Plus it'll actually tighten up the radio in the hole. Not that it really needed it. I didn't notice it vibrating or moving around, and my vehicle has a diesel in it. It vibrates everything a little bit, but I didn't notice the radio moving around, so it's still kind of a fairly snug fit for the radio into here. So now with this spacer I made here in the Excursion, the front of this black part is basically flush with the surrounding area. And that means it'll be easier to get the screen on and off, and slightly more rotation available. So I only did that for that purpose and nothing more, is to get this more flush. Like I said, apparently this Excursion dash, the radio sits in a little deeper than the F350. I had no problem with the movement of the screen on the F350. Well, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. God bless. Take care.